What is up, everyone? PokeDJN here. So I'm making this video today because I was making a video 2 days earlier and I was really optimistic about the market. I saw Phantasmal Flames come down from a high of 300 to 240 and relatively the same for Mega Evolution's ME01. So I was optimistic. I'm like, prices are dropping, but now my optimism has completely 180, and this is primarily because the Pokemon Company refuses to massively ramp up their supply when they know that there's a massive demand for the supply. So we're kind of left in this limbo where we're paying 50% to 100% over MSRP for a brand new booster box I release, and there's no signs of it getting better. This is particularly outrageous to me because this all started with Surging Sparks. That Pikachu really set this whole thing off, as the Scarlet and Violet era was not doing too well up until that point. And Surging Sparks was 14 months ago, folks. So the fact that the Pokemon Company has not addressed this issue yet, I mean, they have addressed the issue, they just haven't done anything about it or anything significant about it. They're just letting these scalpers rule the hobby. These people are just unemployed losers running Discord groups, running bot lobbies, running scripts, etc., buying scripts, having people run scripts for them just to get product to make what they would make at a regular job. And now we're all, the collectors, the investors, etc., are all paying the price for it. And if we look at these prices, if the Pokemon Company would just stop reprinting prismatic evolutions for the 500th time and focus on these booster boxes, we could really be within striking distance of MSRP. But for some reason, they refuse to do so. They just want to keep reprinting prismatic evolutions, even though it's finally holding its price point. Even though you could have got it for 6 to 8 months at $80, $90 in ETB, maybe 75 if you're buying at 80% on secondary market groups. So this is really the frustrating thing, because we can see it start at $300 a box, selling over 1,000 boxes at 300, really well over 1,000 boxes at 300, and it goes down to a low of 212. And if the Pokemon Company would just have ramped up their supply during this period, we could be, I want to say, at MSRP. But instead, they for some reason don't like to reprint these booster boxes, and we can see the price from its low in early December, or mid-December rather, and it bounces back up 10, 15, 20% already, and now it's headed back to $300 with no reprint in sight. I honestly don't know why they don't reprint booster boxes. I can't tell you why. I don't know if it's because they are reprinting a good amount, but since you have Ace Hardware and pizza shops and tire shops and Micro Center getting boxes now, that the supply is just spread too thin, or if they just don't care. I mean, you got to think about it. They print a box of cardboard. How much does that cost? $5, $10 at most, $15. They're still eating good either way, okay? It's hard to imagine what other reason could explain this. It's been 14 months since the release of Surging Sparks, and when this craziness catapulted, and they still have not addressed the issue. The reprints have not ramped up. I mean, have they reprinted Twilight Masquerade booster boxes, Surging Sparks booster boxes, ME01, Destined Rivals? What is Destined Rivals right now? A box, let's see. No, they haven't. Destined Rivals is what, 6 months old? It's a $400 booster box. This is outrageous, folks. It's really outrageous. And I don't want to hear, oh, they did reprint first week of November. Look, finding a couple cases on the back shelf is not a reprint. It's just a mess. It really is just a mess. They've had over a year since Surging Sparks to ramp up the production, and they still have not done anything to fix it other than make a promise and not deliver on it. And we can really see the same trend for ME01, almost the exact same as what Phantasmal Flames did, is where we start extremely high around release, around $300 a box, and we sell over 1,000 boxes on TCG Player, and it goes to a low of 228. ME01 did actually not hit a low like Phantasmal Flames, but we can see immediately it kind of cratered at the 228, and it went back up to around 240, 250. So we're kind of seeing the market, I don't want to say reject these booster boxes, but the hype is not what it was 6 to 8 months ago, even though the hype is still extremely high. So this would be the perfect opportunity for the Pokemon Company to inject themselves and finally ramp up production like they promised, whatever, 8 to 12 months ago. And it's just really unfortunate. A low of 228 with a massive reprint would for sure have gotten it to MSRP, but instead we get more ancillary products, more products that people do not want, instead of the packs going to booster boxes. Which again, for me personally, I don't have a problem with this. If we're gonna be in a scalper environment, if I want something like really, really bad, you might see like 151 Blooming Waters or the Tyranitar and Lucario prismatic boxes, which I paid over MSRP because I love those sets and I love that product, and they are specialty sets. You know, if I see something like that, then I'll get a few. But when it comes to booster boxes, I'm not paying these prices. I mean, these are simply too high. I'll go raise my 401k contributions by 5-10%. I do not care. I'm not buying these booster boxes at this particular price until the Pokemon company does something about it, and they probably don't even give a damn. Let's be honest, do they even care? No. They're still gonna sell out all of their cardboard that cost them $7 to make, and they're gonna be fine. And we're just gonna have to deal with this as collectors, as investors. We're gonna have to deal with this 50 to over 100% MSRP for what feels like and probably is over a year now. For the brand new set that releases in March, we can really see the same trend. It's $245 a box. You got to keep in mind, a lot of these sellers are getting it at distro prices for around $100 a box. So out of the gate, they're almost tripling their money. They're easily over doubling their money, and they have no problem with it. And can you really blame them? You know, I want to get mad at the shops, but they were really in a 2 to 3 year down period where they were selling at net losses. So as much as I want to, you know, harp on the shops for doing this, it's difficult because they were eating the losses for years and years, and I really want to put the majority of the blame on the Pokemon company because they are not ramping up the supply for booster boxes, which is usually what dictates the price of a brand new set, because it is considered the cheapest way to get packs for a set. So if the cheapest way to get packs for a set is double MSRP or 80% over MSRP, the rest of the product is gonna follow in that trend. But also at the same time, you know, F those shops, because there's so many shops, like let's say Danny Phantom, let's say any Pokemon, where they're selling at MSRP because they know it's a privilege to have such a fan base behind them that they can sell their product at an instant 40, 50, 60% gain and sell out instantly. They understand that they're privileged with that opportunity, and they're not effing us over and charging double or triple MSRP, and they're limiting people. They're not letting people buy a case, and they're spreading the quantity around. And I really appreciate shops like that, even though I really don't get any of that product, which again is perfectly fine. But I know there's some people out there, and there's many people out there who are able to get those booster boxes at MSRP from those specific shops, who are looking out for the community. So let me know what you guys think about this market. I think the number one thing that helps me in a market like this is saying no. And the problem is, saying no is so difficult the first time when you see like a Destined Rivals, or you see a Phantasmal Flames, or you see an ME01 with amazing alternate arts. But I promise folks, the first time you say no to some of these sets, it gets easier and easier. No matter if there's a Charizard alternate art, no matter if there's a Gengar alternate art, saying no really is the magic solution to this problem. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really appreciate if you watch the full video, or if you watch any of it at all. Have an amazing rest of the week, and take care.